How's it guys, VP here with another guide. Today we'll be looking at basically the incomplete one guide. So essentially what I'd like to do with this guide is just explain sort of every attack, every way to dodge the attack, ways of taking him down, and basically how to survive the fight, or how to make the fight very, very easy. Obviously this applies to newer players only. Anyone who's played the game for a serious amount of time will know how easy this boss really is. It really is an easy, very, very easy boss, to the point where you sort of you prefer skipping him entirely and just going a quicker route, because he's just boring and easy. But if you do have trouble with him, then this is probably the sort of guide that would be able to help you. Lots of tips and things. Just quickly want to mention this isn't scripted, sort of all off the top of my head with some notes that I've made, so please forgive all the pauses and the ums and ahs. As well as I do have another guide for very, very sort of fresh players, brand new players. If you've followed that guide, then this probably wouldn't apply to you as well. So you know, this is a much more in-depth sort of guide as to the mechanics of this boss at the same time. But if you struggle to actually get to this point in the game, probably you should have a look at the other guide that I made. We'll put a link to that in the description below, as well as a link to the wiki page on the incomplete one. It's got lots of useful information and numbers and things, but not really stuff that you need to know. And also some of the information is not what I'd call accurate, but you know, it's more of a suggested sort of guideline. So yeah, you can have a look at that if you'd like. For this particular boss, there is actually the more advanced speedrunners have found ways to actually skip this boss fight entirely. That doesn't really apply here, but if you are interested in that, you should probably Google that, the incomplete one skip. As far as I know, you need 2 assault shields to even attempt to do the skip, so it doesn't really apply, but just to let you know that it is skippable. And yeah, finally, obviously not everyone's got the same opinion about how to handle this fight and how weapons and things are or affect the certain fight. So you know, if you do have a different opinion, please let me know why, and we can talk about that in the comment section below or wherever. Okay. The items that I have, basically I've stuck with a normal balance blade. I've got a force shield, which I don't really plan on using, and then I've got the 2 meat grinders. Again, I don't plan on using any of these. The amulet also only helps with projectiles. I tried to keep my build as simple and almost weak as possible, just to show how easy this boss really is. So I'll only be using the balance blade and maybe the meat grinders if I get close to finishing the boss and I just want to hurry that time up. You'll also have a look at my stats below. Oops, let's just get back into focus here. I have 1 in strength, 6 in skills, which I don't plan on using, and 4 in HP, which are just sort of there for insurance. But realistically, any variation of skills, points into skills or strength or health should still make this boss very, very easy. Basically, this boss is all about movement and timing. It really comes down to those 2 things. So, you know, you want to time your rolls, which you'll be doing a lot. You'll want to time your jumps, which you'll be using now and then to avoid another attack. So yeah, keep moving, and I'll show you exactly how and when to time those. As for the boss himself, he only moves in 2 directions in 2 ways. He paces up and down the floor, basically chasing after you and doing his thing. You know, he doesn't really do any other movement other than jumping, which also is one of his attacks. That's a little harder to avoid, but also quite easy once you get used to the attack animation and the sort of everything that happens before that. As for his attacks, he has a basic attack, which I'll show you now. He's got that from the beginning. Okay, you'll notice that little back swing that he has on his arm when he does the attack, and once you've gotten used to that, it's very easy to avoid. The moment you see him go up with the exclamation mark, you just sort of roll into him, or you can roll away from him also. That's also one way of doing it. You can also block it with your shield. You can block basically any attack with the well, any close range attack that he does with the shield, as long as you're quick enough. I'm not going to do that. I don't like shields, but it does work. It does work. It also stuns him for a little bit, as you can see, like that. Just time it properly. There we go. Okay, so that's the easiest way to avoid that attack, in my opinion, is running. So now we're going to start doing damage, and this is basically how you will be damaging this boss for the duration of the fight. You will hit him a few times, and once he, whichever weapon or skill or whatever you have that does the most damage, and once he starts his animation, you're going to roll into him and then attack him from the other side like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's attacking, better roll. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, attacking, roll, and so on and so forth. Now, it is important that I mention that many people, including the wiki page, suggest that ranged weapons are the best for this fight, or your longer range weapons like electric weapon and that sort of thing. I don't think that that's quite true, to be honest. I think anything works for this fight. In fact, I think melee weapons usually work better, in my opinion, but there's nothing wrong with, you know, staying at a good range and hitting him from here. There's nothing wrong with that. He will eventually try to close the distance with his other attacks, but that's fine. You can still dodge him when he gets too close. If you're attacking and you're in a corner and he gets close to you, but better roll out and then attack from here. I'm not going to do that for this fight. Just want to get his health down. This is going to take a while. I'll probably fast forward the video. Okay. He just performed 2 of his next attacks. Basically, when he gets to about 90% health, he'll perform a little roar, which is what he did there the first time. That stuns you if you're close enough to him when he does the roar, and that's immediately followed by a force field, a shield. You can't damage him while that's up. You have to wait for that to run out. It's quite quick. Unfortunately, it's usually followed by that red sort of immolation aura that he's got going there now, which does decent DPS to you if you're inside it. So you can't really roll through that, but it doesn't do that much damage. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep dodging. Okay. Do the damage. Once you've done enough damage, he'll roar again. There we go, there's the roar, and there's the immolation aura. So best wait for that to run. Okay, there's his next attack. I want him to do that again. That's basically a wave attack. He does this sort of uppercut that creates a wave attack that moves outward from him and sort of goes towards the walls of the floor. You have to jump over it. You can't roll into it. You can't really avoid it with shield. You have to, like I just did there, you have to jump over it. Okay, now he's got his immolation aura. You have to jump over that. There's no other way to avoid that. So let's keep doing damage. Oops. Okay, he starts that attack, by the way, at about 80% of his health. Once he hits 80%, he'll start that attack. Okay, so I've done some more damage to him. He's now just under 50% health, and when he gets to about 60% HP, he will do a sort of long jump attack. I'll show you how that works in a bit. This attack, you roll underneath this attack. So basically, all his attacks, to avoid them, you need to roll through them, except for the uppercut wave attack. You have to jump over that, otherwise it does damage. Also, the lower his health gets, the higher, or how can I put this? The cooldown between his attacks and abilities reduce with how low his HP gets. So the lower it gets, when it gets very low, he gets really angry and he basically non-stop starts attacking and throwing abilities and things. So it really is by then that you need to sort of really put as much damage as you can and be very careful with the boss. So to jump, so I can show you how to. There we go. There's the jump. You'll notice he sort of hunches or crouches down like that with the exclamation mark. Once he does it, just time your roll again. Easy, very easy, and he likes to do that when you're a certain distance away from him. Very easy to dodge. Okay, so when you're at a range like this and you do have ranged weaponry, and he's got the immolation aura, or he stops to do that, you can barrage him, hit him with everything you've got. Skills, ranged weapons, and the moment he gets close to you, you can start laying on the attack again like this. I should also mention that the long jump attack is very easily stopped by bear traps or ivy grenades or frost grenades, that sort of thing. Especially bear trap. Basically, he tries to jump and he can't. He gets stuck in the trap. At the same time, if he started the jump and you hit him with a frost grenade, he'll be stuck and the jump will stop. And the same thing with the ivy grenade. That's a very nice way to stop that if you do have trouble with it. And you know, just generally a good skill against the boss, as it does stop him from doing any kind of movement for a certain while. Another thing to mention before I finish off this boss is the rally mechanic, and how I'm just going to start using my skills now since I've shown everything I needed to. Whoops. How effective the rally mechanic actually is. It really is an incredible mechanic against this boss. If you have enough strength, there we go, easy. If you have enough strength with your weapons, you can literally stand next to him. He can throw everything he's got at you. But if you've got enough strength, you just keep mashing the X button. Just keep mashing your basic attack on him, and your rally damage will actually give you so much back, depending on the weapon and the strength that you have, that there's nothing he can do to kill you. Literally, I mean, I've done this 2 or 3 times with the Spiteful Blade, with the Frantic Sword, with the Impaler, even if you've got him up against the wall or something like that. And and he'll just do the damage, and you'll just get so much health back by mashing X that he dies before you do. Very quick, very easy way to fight. But that's a, you know, not often that you have enough strength, but it happens every now and then, which is quite nice. Yeah, that's about it. The next guide will feature the Watcher and how to kill him, or the different ways of killing him and avoiding his attacks and phases. That fight's a lot harder than this one, but also becomes very easy once you get used to it and know his patterns and things. So yeah, basically, again, just very basic. To sum up, time your rolls, time your jumps, know when to attack, and when to attack with your melee weapons, when to attack with your ranged weapons, when to attack with your skills. And this boss is quite easy. He's only got the 4 attacks and the 1 sort of shield. Very easy. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future, and leave me a comment or two if you disagree or have other tips that I've missed. I'm sure I've missed a few, different players have different experiences with the game. That's it. Thanks guys. Happy hunting.